All right. Hello, hello. So, how is everybody doing? Welcome to How to Become the Chief Data Storyteller in Your Organization webinar. Okay, so I want to start out to make sure everybody can hear me. Can you guys do me a quick favor and go ahead and raise your hand or say I if you can hear me? Very important. I need to make sure that people can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Okay, awesome. Hey, I see some people on here. All right, so guys, I'm really excited. Can you guys see my screen? Let's make sure you can actually see the screen. Hey, Dale. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Daniel. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Hi, Olga. Can you guys see my screen? I can hear you. Say yes, you can see my screen, please. Yes, we can see the screen. Okay, guys, I am excited. And some of you on here have heard me speak before, some of you have not. And you know that these webinars are like epic. So I have to admit to you, I'm so sorry that it took me so long to do another one. But this particular topic is something that's been on my heart, is something I've been studying and implementing for the last 3 years. And I'm just really excited to share this with all of you. Now, I do have a quick question. I see so many people on here. So where is everybody from? Where are you guys from? Let me see. Okay, I see Chicago, Canada, Subway, France. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. I have Alicia in Atlanta, Andrew's in Toronto, Chad, very cool, Whirlpool, Michigan. Oh my gosh, all over Wisconsin here. We have Dio, he's in Atlanta. Michael in Kenya, thank you. Wow, we have Alex in Jamaica. Oh my gosh, Raj in India. You guys are awesome. Scott in Denver. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, you guys are awesome. And don't worry, you guys know I deliver. So I'm excited. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the topic of hand here. Well, hold on a second. Oh, I have Dave in Lincoln. I think he said New Hampshire. Okay, I see some people are having issues with the screen here. So I just want to make sure. Hi, Marie. Let me try this one more time. I see if you can see the screen, can you just put I can? Because some people are saying they're having issues, but other people said they can't see the screen here. I can hear. Well, can you see the screen? Okay, people can. Okay, so for those of you who are having any issues, just do me a favor, maybe reload the page and you should be fine. Okay. All right, guys, let me get started because we have a lot to cover. Okay, so the topic at hand today is welcome to the How to Become the Chief Data Storyteller in Your Organization. And so this particular topic I mentioned is on my heart. And for those of you that are in here that fill out the survey, and those of you who didn't, I want to make sure you're in the right place. So you're in the right place, one, if you want to learn a proven way to get the business or your users on board so you can stop creating, designing, or funding fancy export Excel tools. So let me ask this question. Who today is creating or has created a fancy export to Excel tool? Say me. Okay, I see that there are a few people here. They're like, I am one of, oh my gosh, I see a lot of me's here. Very cool. Andrew, Scott, Chad. Okay, so welcome to where I was 8 years ago. Now, you're also in the right place if you're an analyst, BI practitioner, or decision maker, or quite frankly, a data enthusiast, and you want a super easy way to get your users to take action with your reports or dashboards. So this is really, really important here. One of the biggest things that we have on request is for people to create analytics that takes actions. And I'll be quite frank with you, that actually prompted this whole discovery that I went through in the last couple of years about creating chief data storytellers and using storytelling to be able to propel that. And I'm going to show you guys how we do that today. You're also in the right place if you want a plan on how to become the chief data storyteller in your organization and take your career to the next level, as well as meet a few amazing folks. So again, this is something that is not new. I'm really excited. I just decided to share it publicly. We have a number of customers doing this. And by the way, this is not going to be a sales pitch. As you guys know, the way that BI Brains works is we're pretty much a lab to the community. We've been blessed to continue to work with some of the top clients. We basically test our methods, we build tools, and then we give it to you guys for free. Okay, so if you're sitting down, just make sure you keep your eyes glued to the screen because I do have a lot to cover. I just don't have a lot of time. Okay, so let me ask you guys, because this is important. If you are on here, because I don't want to waste your time, how many of you want to become the Chief Data Storyteller in your organization? Because it's a very specific webinar. I'm looking for some responses here. I love it. Okay. Yay, Tasha. Yes. Lee. Oh my gosh. It's coming in so fast. Oh my gosh. You guys are awesome. Dennis. Yes. Yes. Exclamation part. Okay. I'm very interested. Okay. Awesome. Well, guess what? That's essentially what I have become. And I'm going to share all my techniques with you guys. Okay, so one thing I do ask is I want you guys to stay tuned until the end. I do have some special gifts for people who stick with me. So you definitely want to hang in here toward the end because on the replay, you're not going to get these gifts. So very, very important. Now, in here, just for transparency, I'm definitely sharing some of my most popular lessons for free that I actually teach in my flagship course, BI Data Storytelling Mastery. But I want to make sure for those people who are here in my course, some of this may be repetitive already, but I pulled out kind of the key nuggets that we have and I'm sharing it with you guys today. So very, very good stuff. Okay, so let's get started. So for those of you who do not know me, hi there. I'm Mico Yuk, and my keynotes and trainings have been rated #1 literally all over the place. So again, this is like a 10-year journey. So I wish I could tell you this happened overnight, but unfortunately it did not. So here are some places where some of you may have seen me. And if you have seen me, just plug it in chat because I'm loving this chat. I presented at Facebook Women Analytics Conference. I presented at the Real BI at MIT. Oh, I say me on here. I presented at past BA conference, keynote, Google Black Tech, Master in SAP in Australia and ZA, Montreal, Big Data World, AI Showbiz, Power Summit. Oh, I see people. Oh, great. I got a lot of people here. Montreal, Real BI, won my book. Oh, you guys are awesome. Met you at SAP Insider. Yeah, I've definitely traveled the world a bit. But the reason why this is important is not to tout my horn because I'm not very good at that. But I just want to make sure you guys understand that this is a passion. I love doing it and I tread the world. And so the stuff you guys, again, are going to learn are stuff that's literally been taught to over 5,000 students and tested on multiple clients. Now, besides that, I'm also a founder and author. So these are a few of the clients I've worked with. Some of you may recognize some of these logos or be from some of these companies. I do have a book called Data Visualization for Dummies. I always make this joke, but I'm going to highly recommend that you start at chapter 7 if you get the book. And I also have a podcast called Analytics on Fire that we run and a new one coming out called Data Nation. But anyways, enough about that. If you haven't checked out Analytics on Fire, the last episode apparently with Kimberly Clark on user adoption is so relevant. I highly recommend you get on there and not to plug again, but please leave us a rating. Okay, so how many of you attended the Apple event yesterday, right? Epic. Anybody watch the new iPhone, right? Steve Jobs, I have to tell you by far, is known as one of the greatest storytellers of all time. And he has this quote, and I have to admit, this is one of these quotes I've looked at for years. And it says, the most powerful person in the world is a storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come. Now, the beauty about this is Steve Jobs was not just the most amazing storyteller, but because of his storytelling techniques, he has turned iPhone into an iconic, not iPhone alone, but Apple into an iconic brand. And so I'm going to explain to you guys exactly how I try to channel my inner Steve Jobs. And I'm going to help you to channel yours to make this applicable so that you guys can become the chief data storyteller in your organization. So this is the thing. 8 years ago, my life looked very different. And this is really important because I think when people see me online, they think, oh, great, you're on stage, you're at MIT, you know, you're heading to Facebook. Great, great, great. No, no, no. It didn't start this way. So here's where this started. Anybody on here from New York? Any New Yorkers on here? So the reality, guys, is I literally started, I was in my early 20s as an analyst, and I worked on this street. I put this street on here because I think it's important. You could see it, nothing fancy. And I was working in New York City for Pfizer as the BI dashboard developer and analyst for the research department as a part of IT. Now, I was a lone wolf working with senior management, gathering their dashboard requirements. Okay. So again, this was where I started, humble beginnings. Some of you think, oh, New York, it's fancy. Listen, it wasn't fancy. On top of it, this was my first dashboard. Oh my Lord, I'm like, oh, I'm actually embarrassed to show this. Wowzers. Okay, so this was my first dashboard, and please don't laugh. I really thought I nailed it when we launched to crickets. Now, I don't know what, you guys are all over the world. Greetings from Brazil. If you know what crickets are, it's like chirp, chirp. It just means you put it out there, you wait, you're excited. No one even shows up to see what's happening. Okay. So I don't, talking about a traumatizing experience, guys, I can't even begin to tell you how bad this was. Now, that is when, though, something great happened. Right? After being completely embarrassed, because I can't even tell you how much work we put into this, I basically kind of became obsessed with user adoption. I became obsessed to where I started researching like crazy, right? And then I started to kind of share those experiences online because I was actually testing them at the customer, which they didn't know at that point. Now, here's the interesting part. I spent 8 long years fumbling with quote unquote popular BI methods that didn't work. And some of you may recognize these methods. And if you do, I'd love for you guys to put it within the comments. Number 1, waterfall project plans. I mean, do not even get me started with this and the step and the next step. You want to fail quickly? I can just tell you, start doing waterfall. You want to bore your users to death? This is exactly how you do it, by telling them the next step and the next step and the next step. Then I decided to pick up every dashboard design book and class I could get my hands on. Literally, I started in the bookstore and then started these classes. And one of the things that I ran into is that all these classes were focused on how to make your dashboards pretty or how to choose a chart, right? So mind you, I'm sitting here, I'm in New York, right? I need to produce this amazing, visualization or whatever it is I need to do. And unfortunately, I'm just being told how to make the chart pretty. And by the way, I can't get my users to use what I built, right? If you ever have done this, say I. And then, of course, I engage in the very last method here, which I called the build and pray method. Now, unfortunately, this is not a religious thing. This is typically what happens in BI. And I was doing this, right? I build it, I push the button, and I pray. So let me get a hello if any of you have ever engaged in the build and pray method. Has anybody done this before? I love this. Dave says, build and pray, my favorite, like stop, drop, and roll while skiing. Waterfall, ooh, Lemon said. Yes, this build and pray method is not great, okay? But again, I've not shared this before, so I'm a little embarrassed. This is what we did. We spent a lot of time building, we pushed the button, and then we prayed somebody would come. So one of the things I started doing, I said, okay, I was so fed up, right? I was young, I was embarrassed. And I started testing my own techniques and templates on real clients. So again, remember, they don't know I'm testing, but I'm going, all right, I'm droning here. None of this is working. What to do? Here's some good news. About 18 months later, after a lot of tears, and I actually did cry in New York. I hope none of you cry about failure, but I'm pretty passionate. So I actually cried a few times. I finally saw results, and you could see on the right-hand side, that's actually me interviewing our executive sponsor from Shell. Some of you know Shell, or everybody does, right? One of the biggest gas companies in the world. And they're in Amsterdam, and they're actually presenting, showing people how to use our methodology that they actually took to build their entire retail BI cockpit. their user adoption rates continue to soar way above for the last 3 years. So this is interesting because when we started this journey with our flagship course, the BI Dashboard Formula, Shell was one of our first champions. And today we have multiple use cases with them. And you guys probably know Shell is about 300, I think, and $52 billion. So when I tell you this thing has been tested, it's been tested. And so finally, I started getting some results and I felt like great. But as you know, nothing is that easy. So one of the things I did is first I created a BI Dashboard Formula. But then in the last 3 years, I created what we call BI Data Storytelling Mastery. And some of you are within the Facebook group. I have a private Facebook group. But what this is a proven methodology that innovates the user experience, resulting in higher user adoption and measurable actionable outcomes. Now, don't laugh at all, but in the bottom corner, I also call it the common cure to boring workshops, useless reports, and long, expensive BI projects. Okay. So today it is rated as one of the top BI workshops in the world. And you could see on here, I just put a few posts. We have hundreds and hundreds of different inputs from all over online, from sessions, but people absolutely love using our visual storyboards, coming to our sessions and going through this and then using it again. So it is rated #1 today. But like I said, you guys are very special because you're going to benefit again from 3 years of research and teaching and going around the world. So I'm very, very excited. So I want to start out first by going through 4 myths when it comes to becoming the Chief Data Storyteller, okay? So the first myth, and this one is one of the most famous ones, is data storytelling is for marketers. Now, don't get me wrong. Data storytelling actually originated in Hollywood, first of all. And yes, that's a marketing machine that none of us can even compete with. But I wanted to place this article on here that comes from Forbes that declared that data storytelling is the essential data science skill everyone needs. And by the way, after this call, you guys can go look this up. But believe me, in doing this research, I was beyond pleased. Now, granted, in 2009, Google chief economist, he said the ability to take data, understand it, process it, extract it, and visualize it, and then communicate it is going to be a hugely important skill. And then as of 2017 to 18 and beyond, it has literally become the #1 sought skill set online. Okay. So data storytelling is not just for marketers, guys. This is happening in analytics and it's happening right now. The second myth is that chief data storytellers are data scientists. Now, do I have any data scientists here? If you are a data scientist, just say, I am a data scientist, right? So I'm not knocking data scientists. Most of you who follow me know I started out as a data scientist, but this couldn't be further from the truth, guys. I mean, even Steve Jobs said, right, that data storytellers are a combination of tech and a liberal arts degree. The truth is this. A storyteller is anyone who has the ability to turn raw information into actionable knowledge and communicate it. And literally, it can be learned by anyone. Awesome. Okay, I see Saeed and Ravich says they are data scientists. Awesome, right? So I just, for me, this is how things are marketed. I don't believe this. I just don't. Like, we've worked so much with students and customers. And if you want to master this, you're in the right place. Like, this is, I don't want to curse on here, but this is just BS. The third myth is that data storytelling is all about building pretty dashboards. Now, guys, I have to tell you the truth here. I'm all for building pretty stuff and useful stuff, but I get so tired when people come and they go, oh, yeah, I want to storytell and my stuff doesn't look great. A matter of fact, not to call out anybody, but I had a really big vendor email me this morning and say, oh, can I see your data storytelling videos? And I went, sure. And when I wrote him back, I said, why? And he said, well, we need to make our demos prettier. Let's not call the vendor name. Anyways, so here's the truth. Data storytelling is not about a tool, and it's not about a dashboard, and it's not about a report, okay? What it's really about is user engagement and experience. And more importantly, and please let this register, storytelling is about creating or changing the narrative. Very, very important stuff here. You see this narrative? That's the difference between a chief data storyteller versus your regular BI manager, BI practitioner, data enthusiast, or business super user. Okay. Changing the narrative, that is what chief data storytellers do. Very important. Now that we've kind of got through those myths, I want to jump right into our game plan today. So the first thing is we're going to go through this 4-step process. I'm going to give you 4 things you need to do today to create your first data story, but more importantly, to start to become the chief data storyteller. Okay, lessons learned. In that, you're going to see how to overcome some of the main challenges. I don't want you guys to get off of here and feel like you can't accomplish this. I'm going to teach you guys some game-changing techniques that I have used myself to warrior users. And then I'm going to show you a few real people like you who have actually used our methodology to drive a more data-driven culture. And then I'm going to share you guys, for those of you who are interested, who want to get more help. And then I'm going to give you guys some free bonuses. Okay, so who is ready? Because these comments are keeping me very hyped. Thank you guys so much for commenting. You don't know how helpful it is when you're just staring at a screen. Who's ready for this? Okay, I love it, love it, love it. I'm ready. Okay, so let's look at some of the top challenges and methods that work. Here is the gold mine. Okay, this is where you need to be glued to the screen. Oh my gosh, Larry, I love it. He said, let's roll. Wilson is like, I'm ready. Method number one, start visual storyboarding. Now, this may be a new concept to a lot of you, but you see on here, this is one of my favorite slides because a lot of times I'm asking people, what are you doing, right? And a lot of people tell me, oh, 98% say I'm doing Agile or Scrum, when the reality is that they're really doing the as-you-go method. How many of you are doing the as-you-go method, which is very similar to the build and pray method, right? These are very widely practiced methodologies within our data space that no one wants to adhere to, but this is what happens, right? I say get away from all of these and start visual storyboarding, okay? So what is visual storyboarding? So if you look on this screen, do not be intimidated by the graphics. We have a very simple 5-step process, okay? And it's very simple. And I think a lot of people, what we have found, are doing either 1 or 2 of these steps or a few of them, but a lot of people are just doing them in the wrong order, okay? So what we do is we first set up our story framework. We do that using our visual storyboard, which I'm about to show you and teach you. We then use our KPI blueprint. I saw earlier someone said BIDF is dynamite. This blueprint is basically, honestly, what made BI Brains and what kind of catapulted me on this research when I saw how much hundreds of people it's benefited, well, thousands at this point across the world. We then create a simple black and white wireframe. We then brand the wireframe, so we add color to it, and then we take that and we are able to build that in any tool. So I'm actually going to pause for a minute. You guys need to screenshot this particular screen, okay? If you don't take anything else away from here, this simple process is literally the gold mine. If you follow this step by step, you are going to literally wow your users, okay? People are going to want to work with you. You're going to have results. You're going to have use cases. They are going to be excited. So the first step here is you want to start your workshop with our storyboard. It's free to download. And the important part is we tell you exactly what to ask. I see here, someone said they already did the screenshot, important. So the storyboard premise, guys, every story has 4 sections. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with, I think it's the hero syndrome or the story of the hero. There's a book that most of us read in high school. But the one industry that has mastered storytelling, right, is Hollywood. Every story has 4 sections, okay? Actually 3. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So one thing you learn is that when it comes to data, our stories have what I call 4 sections. We have a beginning, which is your actionable goal and your KPIs. We have a middle, which is your trends or your causes. And then we have an end, which is your actions. Now, for those of you who haven't gotten this, by the way, when you registered, you should have gotten this download. If you don't have it, we will send it. So do me a favor. If you don't have it, just say I don't. in there. But what I will do is if we see people who don't have it, though you should have it, we'll resend it over to you. Okay. We give this away for free because honestly, this is the game changer. And this took a lot of research to create this simple looking board. All right. So let's talk about the simple areas. Okay, I see a lot of I don't. So we are definitely going to make sure that you get that sent. My team is on here. So please make sure that we resend that out when we send them the thank you email. Okay, so don't worry, just focus and pay attention. We'll get you the board. So these 4 sections for creating a story, guys, is very, very key. So let me go back a little bit further. So if you look on here, I'm going to give you guys my first free tool that I love to our users. How many of you have ever heard of real-time board? Oh, anybody ever heard of real-time board? Okay, I see not that many people. So the one thing you want to do, guys, because I get a lot of different people who are asking me about how to do this remotely with Teams, real-time board is free and it's a game changer, okay? So your first big tool, and say, you could just say, Mico, thank you, because you are going to love this. And I may put up another free video on how we use it, is the file that you're going to get in a storyboard. You want to put it in real-time board and you can actually engage your users and create, and you can actually do a whole session with post-its like I have on the right using this, okay? This is very key. But what I want to zone into here is if you look on the bottom right, you'll see here, and I'm going to run through a quick example next step, that we have the post-its here and we actually use this to engage our users, okay? Now, visual storyboarding. I don't have a lot of time to go into detail. I am going to get in the next step on how to ask the questions. But for those of you who want details on just how to do KPIs, there is a free white paper out there. You can just go on Google, honestly, it's a very long URL. I did this with SAP. The vendor is not as important, but this essentially shows you how to create actionable KPIs. And I put this in here only because of the fact that I don't have time to go through. This is not my BIDF one, okay? All right, so here it's how to create actionable KPIs. You guys can go on Google, or if my team will put it into chat, you will have the link. You could go to it after and you can download this free white paper. And for those of you struggling with converting your KPIs, this is a good free white paper. Now, here's an example. So remember I talked about the fact that we're giving you those free board files. Honestly, before we did this stuff virtually, and we still even do it today, so I shouldn't say before we did, these are examples of people using the boards. And I think I have some of the people on the webinar in here. I think that's Jan on the right. So I have him here. But these are examples of how we print these boards. And this is actually in 3 different countries across the world where we actually have people using the boards to be able to derive their story, okay? So visual storyboarding is important. All right, Andrew, thank you for posting that link. Okay, the second thing that needs to happen is now that you have the visual storyboard, very, very, very important, is to make sure you ask the right questions. And on the right, I have a very convoluted visual because this is what happens when you ask the wrong questions, okay? And when you ask the wrong questions, you get bad requirements. That then leads to you not having a story and having data overload, okay? So let's start off with one key thing. And I want you guys to screenshot this. Very, very important here. Never, after you get off this webinar, ask these 2 questions to anybody. Number 1, what do you want to see? And number 2, how do you want it to look? This is really important. And I always put this up here because these are probably 2 of the most popular questions. But as a chief data storyteller, you literally have to ban these from your vocabulary like the word I can't. Here's the reason why. If you ask these questions, guys, and let me explain this very clearly. If you ask these questions, the users and they're going to tell you they want everything, okay? And if they tell you they want everything, that is how you get visuals and analytics that looks like the picture on the front. Not to mention, this just becomes a horse race. I want this. Give me that. I don't have it. Well, give me that. And it never ends. Okay. So at this point, I'm just letting you know that if you're asking these questions today and you don't get anything else off of this webinar, screenshot this, put up on your desk, tell your whole team, we are never asking these questions again. So now that I've erased that from your vocabulary, and actually, let me slow down. How many of you ask these questions? How many of you actually ask these questions? Because I see this all the time. Okay, I see a few people who are being pretty honest about it, right? This is a problem. So let's move over now to what you should ask. And this is the second slide you want to screenshot, right? Oh, I see someone saying, me, yes. Yes, guilty as charged. I see Chandra. Awesome. Okay, don't worry, guys. This slide is the slide that you want to screenshot. Okay. There, to get the right story in conjunction with the storyboard you're gonna get, and this is gold. This is gold. You don't know how much work it took to get this down to something this simple. These are the 5 questions you need to ask in order to get the perfect narrative. Okay? Very, very important. To get the goal, you ask the question, what does success look like? Question number 1. I have 5 on here and I'm going to tell you why. To get the snapshot, you then ask, to hit your goal, which KPIs do you actually need to measure to hit that goal? Then to get the trends or the causes, you then ask the question, which is, if your KPI is not on target, what could have caused it? Then once you have your causes, you then ask them how to fix it. These literally are the only questions you ever need to ask. The reason I have 5 questions is that instead of asking what does success look like on the top, you could ask them, what is your goal of whatever it is you're trying to create? Now, I want to be very clear. Visual storyboarding is less about anything visual from a chart standpoint, right? And more importantly, it's focused on the narrative. So if you do this and you go through these questions that I just gave you, you will literally dumb down and create the perfect narrative. Now, again, I'm giving you guys a baseline. There is 3 years of research here. There are some of the top customers in the world this has worked with. You saw Shell. I have others that I'll show you, but this is the key. So at this point, like I said, consider your time on this webinar well spent, okay? Now, method number 3, one that's a little bit harder, is be 100% visible. So I know that some of you have been mentioning the BI dashboard formula, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we actually have a free teaching online. And if you guys want that, you can put in free teaching. We have a free teaching on here. There's a lot of freebies on here, right? And the BI dashboard formula blueprint essentially is, once you have went through your story and you've now gathered your goal, you've now gathered your KPIs, your trends, and your actions, you then use a BIDF blueprint, guys, in order to validate your story. Very, very, very important, okay? And here's why. If you see on here, and some of you know this already, once we validate the story using the blueprint, and again, the blueprint teaching is a whole hour by itself. So that's why we have a free teaching, right? If you use it here, you'll notice that what we do is there's a coloring system, because I always get this question from people, which goes, Mico, we've created a story, but no, we don't have data for this KPI, or we don't understand this trend. You have to validate it, okay? And the important part here is what we do is we create a color map, and then we use exactly this visualization when users ask us, how far are we along in the process? What do we need to do? Yes, we have a project plan, okay? And that's a bit further on. However, what we do is we show them, and you could see here, I remember this particular project, the user looked at us and said, okay, so basically we don't have much. And I said, well, don't look at it negatively, right? The things in yellow are stuff that we're trying to get, and the things in red are stuff that we will not get, right? So you could see on here that, and this is important. Again, this is not a blueprint teaching, right? I know a lot of you know me from the blueprint. This is our flagship tool and course, but this particular step on visibility is key. Now, I have a few good questions here. Someone said, what happens if they don't have the answers to these questions? Rob, thank you for that. I'm going to take a step back. So what ends up happening as you go through the process? First of all, remember, you typically need to have about 3 to 5 KPIs. If people don't have the answers to the questions, what we found is they typically, as you go through it, will go back, work on their own, and come back. Because the important part here, guys, is besides creating a narrative, what you're doing is setting the tone for a very visual process that they understand, right? You're asking them very simple questions over and over again. You're not contesting their expertise, right? You're not saying you know better. And if they don't have the answer to the questions, do you know what we do? We simply said to them, listen, we actually have a laundry list. And that's not included here because, again, I don't have time to go through the entire process. And we table it and we tell them at the end, we're going to deal with this, but we have to move on. So here's another golden nugget. There's something called a laundry list. When you run into areas where people don't have answers, you want to write that down, table it, shove it on there. And once you're done with a storyboard, you go through and you basically clear out that laundry list. Rob, thank you. That was a great question. Also, I did it. Okay. So then you have the fourth method here, which is one of the cardinal mistakes. Leave design last. All right, give me 1 second here. I just need a quick drink of water. Sorry. All right, I get a little too excited. So when I say leave design last, guys, the reason I say this is, again, this goes back to the famous build and pray method. Everybody just wants to start building. And it's really exhausting, to be honest with you. This was probably, especially coming from like an IT background, this was probably where I really, really struggled. Okay. I really struggled with people who just want to start building stuff. Okay. And so one of the things that we teach, if you want to be a chief data storyteller, the way that you will distinguish yourself is by having the discipline to leave design last. Now, here's what we learned, and here's why this is important. Design is hard, guys. This is really important. Design is very hard. However, one of the only reasons design is so difficult, guys, and please let this ring through in your ears, is because of the fact that your metrics and your story is not properly defined. You have to understand this last step distinguishes a chief and amazing data storyteller from someone who just wants to build more stuff. Okay. Design is only hard when you don't have a clear narrative and your metrics are not defined. So now I'm going to show you a method. Some of you may have seen it before that we develop in order to transform any KPI or goal into actionable. Okay. So let me run through this. What we do, guys, is we call this the WHW method. And I'm going to do this very quickly, right? So what we do here is all we do is we take a simple goal in this case. I said KPI, but it could be a KPI goal. Let's say it's profit margins. And then we basically construct a sentence. And that's actually what that white paper was about. So let's say you have the goal profit margins. The first thing we put in the front of it to rename it is we ask ourselves what action. So in this case, you want to grow our profit margins. The second thing we ask ourselves is how much, by 25%. And the third thing we ask ourselves is by when. Growth profit margins by 25% by 2017. Now, here's the interesting thing. Today in corporate, a lot of people will just say, oh, our goal is profit margins, or a KPI is profit margins. The issue you have with that is as you go, and let this sink in, my future chief data storytellers, right, who are focused on narrative, as you go forward, right, with that, and you just say profit margins, what you're typically doing at that point is trying to visualize everything. And that's a big problem. So what we do here is we basically reconstructed this sentence in order to turn any KPI and goal visual. Now, I want to make sure as well I give credit. So this is kind of a mashup of Peter Drucker, SMART method, and also the 4 disciplines of execution. I'm a huge WIG fan, so wildly important goals. So I utilize that, but I have to be honest with you. I really struggled with remembering what SMART was. So what we did internally to make this easy is we basically reconstructed the sentence. And this little format is what we literally applied to every goal and KPI in our narrative to turn it actionable. There's one important part though. If you cannot transform them to actionable, you need to remove them. Okay. So, all right. So how many of you like the WHW method? Very simple, but very effective. And again, a few people may have seen this before, but by far it's one of the things that is easy to implement on anything you're doing today. And it definitely can transform it. Oh, Chandra is asking Peter who? Peter Drucker. And again, talking about screenshots, I'm going to highly recommend you screenshot this one. Screenshot this one. Yes, this was made for my brain because to be quite frank with you, Every time someone would tell me what does smart mean, I just couldn't remember. I think it'd be smart, measurable, and you're talking about like a KPI, I eat them for lunch. Accessible. Okay, I'm embarrassing myself. Anyways, I couldn't remember it. So I had to derive this little method, which is the WHW, the what, how, when method, in order to be able to transform anything quickly. Okay, so screenshot this. I'm giving you guys a minute on here. You are welcome. I love this responses. You guys keep the responses coming. I love it. Okay, so guys, what I've shown you guys here, right, my chief data storytellers, is that this is literally how we create these actionable, quote unquote, lovely data visualizations that everybody wants in 4 weeks. It's a no-brainer. So let's go through the steps. First, we create an actionable data story, right? You guys now have real-time board where you can do it virtually, and you're going to get the storyboard, okay? You then have the questions you need to ask in order to complete the storyboard. Then what we do is we take that and we transform that into a wireframe, a black and white wireframe, and then we actually add color, and voila, we basically have a data visualization, an actionable one. But for some of you who are a little bit skeptic, let me go through a little bit deeper. So our process is seamless. Most importantly, it's proven. It has all the texts and all the tools and techniques you need, and it actually works. So here's a good example. So please pay attention here. And I'm a little bit nervous here. I don't know if I want you guys to screenshot, but it's small enough so I won't get into trouble. This is an example. When we first launched the storyboard, this was one of the first customers we work with. This is a huge company. They're about 26 billion, right? This is literally their storyboard. So we used to have it within Excel. Then we kind of modified it to make it easier. So you could see here, they have all the layers. They have the KPIs, they have the trends, they have the actions. They have even on the bottom, something that we call a visual response, a bit out of scope for here. But again, stay with me. For those of you who want to go a bit further, I'll tell you how to kind of join me on this journey. We then took that exact data, and this has been washed off, so pardon the repetitive numbers, and we transformed it into this wireframe. We then added color, and then voila, this turned into that. Now, again, we have actually removed all the data, but this process that you guys are seeing here, we have literally done this at this point, I think about 70 times. We've done it with different tools. Tools don't matter. That's why I'm not talking about tools. A matter of fact, we've done it with Tableau, Click, Burst. We actually don't care about the tools. What you guys need to understand is that if you follow these steps, guys, and you trust us here because we've done the hard work of testing, you as well will literally start building these actionable, compelling, data-driven data visualizations and reports within 4 weeks. Okay, so let's take a look at some use cases, because I know I have people on here that are going, okay, great, Mico, but I always hear this. My environment's different. It's so funny, right? I hear this all the time, but my company is unique, but I'm an analyst. Here is Jonathan Shar, and he may not be on the webinar, but he's an analyst. And I love his quote here. He said, before using our process and methodology, he had no process. He said for a while there, I love this, it was like the wild, wild west. How many of you can raise your hand and say you might be in the wild, wild west? Okay. He literally, I remember sitting with Jonathan, he said, look, there's a formality to creating a KPI, right? And he said, coming back and having a conversation, we basically had to explain, we're implementing this, we're slowing it down. Needless to say, today, these guys obviously have implemented this. You know what warmed my heart? I had a talk with him because he came to see me in Seattle last year. He said, we used to walk in the room. He's a data scientist, right? He said, we used to walk in the room and literally, instead of being able to focus on data, everybody would be asking questions like, where did it come from? And what, questioning the definition. And he said, one of the biggest takeaways, Mico, is that by using the tools that you taught us, because he came to one of my live workshops, he said, we eliminated that segment. Nobody sits in a room anymore and has a discussion around what is this KPI and how do you measure it. Now, he's an analyst and a data scientist. let's take a look at use case number 2, right? The decision maker. So I love this because Fiona, and she's amazing, right? She worked at one of the big telecom companies. Now she's at LinkedIn. She essentially said, look, we had 140 KPIs, right? We suffered from extreme KPI overload. How many people suffer from extreme KPI overload? This is really important here. And again, guys, I'm going through this because it's important that you guys get facts. You know, we have actually over 100 use cases, so I wish I could share them. But how many people suffer from extreme KPI overload? And she said, look, working with us, with the boards, with the tools, she was able to essentially get down to 12 KPIs. Now, remember, I'm recommending you guys, and you become the person that is able to unclog some of this nonsense, honestly, that's going on in corporate. Okay. Then we have our BI practitioner, Daniel. And I actually have a video that I'm going to share. So Daniel is interesting, right? Daniel used our tools, which was fascinating, to, I believe he said, create 64 dashboards in 5 weeks. I think, yeah, it's on here, 5 weeks. I'll be honest with you. The only reason I put this up here is because I actually consider him to be better than me. I couldn't do this. I'm going to be frank with you. This use case blows my mind, but I have to tell you what, it's people like him that continue to kind of motivate me to push forward and want to create the Chief Data Storytellers. So Daniel is one of these people we met years ago that jumped on top of this when I started sharing these tools and methods, but actually he was implementing it while he was learning. So very fascinating stuff, right? He said we were up and running in days. And by the way, he called me like a year later and told me about this, okay? Oh my gosh, I can't count. This is number 3. Okay, so now I've shown you guys this, right? And I hope you guys have gained value. And the reason this is important is I went through probably some of the top 4 elements, but there's some of you who are saying, okay, this is great. I got the storyboard, I have the steps, but you might want to take it a little bit further. So one thing you need to know is these are just a few of the techniques and tactics that we actually teach within our course. Now, for those of you who are on here, because time is very precious, what I'm going to do, for those of you who have gotten what you need, you are all set. For those of you who want to join, I have a challenge, right? I've decided that data storytelling and storytellers are going to be the future. And I've had a lot of executives validate this for me, which is why I'm on this vendetta, okay? From Facebook to Google, I'm heading over to Looker Data. I go around the world doing this stuff. We do these workshops, right? We teach people to be data storytellers. I believe that I can find and convert enough data people, 1,000 to be exact, into Chief Data Storytellers within the next 365 days. And the reason why I say this is because, guys, honestly, I get so many executives who literally say, Mico, how do we get another you, right? How do we get people that are understanding the narrative and the story? Okay. Very, very important. And so for me, this became kind of a passion, and that's what I'm going to help you guys do today. Okay. So for those of you who want to go a little bit further on this journey with me, after a lot of requests, and honestly, a lot of executive requests, because to be quite frank, there aren't enough of us, right? And I'm hearing the complaints. I went ahead and created my online course, and it's called BI Data Storytelling Mastery. Now, I put a screenshot on here. Some of you are already in the course. So if you're on here and you took it, I'd appreciate if you want to put comments on here, right? Awesome. Somebody said they want to change their poll, their poll to yes. Awesome. Oh, I'm just reading comments. I have 54 seniors I'm trying to teach to be data viz storytellers. Oh, I love it. Wow, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Wow, we need to talk offline, Kevin. I'm loving that a lot. Very, very cool. Okay, so anyway, so getting back to on here. So what I did, guys, because I'm very passionate about this and I want to take people on a journey, is I created an online course. And I do want to tell you guys something. Doing this stuff for me is a passion. However, because I run a company, I can't do it for free. Otherwise, believe me, I would, but I do my best to give away for free. So what I did is I created an online course, and there's actually a free private Facebook group that I started where I share my best stuff. So your question should be, what do you get in this course? And again, this is only for people who want to take the journey and they want to do it with me, okay? To be quite frank, if you want to take everything you learn and you want to go ahead off and do it on your own, you can do that. But I would love for those of you who are on this journey with me. By the way, if you're on the journey with me, then tell me, who's on the journey to become a Chief Data Storyteller? I love it. Okay, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so if you want to take the next step, the course has in 30 high quality videos, 15 lessons, 10 hours of content. It has in multiple story templates, a whole toolkit, access to our community, right? So we now have the public group. There is going to be a community as well as just going to be for our students. We do 4 live Q&As per quarter, okay? There's a certificate of completion and you have access for a year. You can access these videos on any device and learn at your own pace. Now, the beauty of this is we actually ran a beta class and so far it has all 5-star reviews. So believe it or not, we gave some of our clients access to this as early as in May because, to be quite frank with you guys, I did not want to release and test on you guys. Okay. This is way too important for me. Like I said, I'm being brought in. I have multiple keynotes where I'm teaching this. So we actually had a beta group of people. I actually spent time fixing stuff in the course and I made my entire team go through it to make sure that the course was good. Okay. Now, what does the course look like? So here's an example. I don't know about any of you who know, we use Thinkific. Basically, you do this at your own pace, right? And everything is there. So for those of you who are interested, you can actually get started today. You actually get a certificate at the end. So once you complete, you do get a certificate that you can print out and say that you're done. And so your next question should be for me, okay, how much does this cost? So what we did here, I'm actually going to kind of skip through this here. So what we did on here, guys, is I actually went ahead and based on the feedback, you can see here that this was what the course costs. What we did today is there's 2 ways to start the course, okay? We actually, based on our feedback, because I wanted to get these 1,000 people in, is we have a payment plan where you can start for $99 today, or what we do is you have a one-time payment of $498. Now, the URL to get started is bidatastorytelling.com. So for those of you who are interested, what I'm going to recommend is that you guys can head over there if you want to join me, and you'll notice that we have a special going on for the course. It literally starts at $99, and then or you could do a one-time payment of $498. So this is what the course used to cost, but we literally went ahead and released it because once I hit that 1,000-person cap, we're going to increase the price again. So I just need to make sure I'm being super clear because I don't want anybody to get upset at me. When I hit that 1,000-person cap, guys, and I'm being very specific because we already have at this point for the beta, we have over 50 people in the course that I invited myself. Some are free and some are paid because I invited some of my heavy hitter students. I wanted to get feedback on this. I'm going to put it back to this pricing. This is not the pricing today. So again, it's bidatastorytelling.com. Okay, so I'm looking at a time here. We have about 7 minutes. There's a couple of things I promised you guys at the end. So in there, when you guys go to the page, you guys will see that there's about $10,000 of special bonuses as well that you guys get if you're in this kind of first quartet and you take action right now. Now, the 16 live Q&As that happen, right? And most of you know, some people write me all the time. I am very approachable. I love interacting and learning. I normally do charge, however, about $450 an hour. And that's not a fake number. If my clients are on here, they will tell you it's not very cheap. Okay. And so one of the things I'm going to recommend is that we have the live Q&As, we have the Facebook group, but essentially you're kind of joining a tribe, and it's one that I'm intending to harbor and unleash on the world. So I definitely want you guys to join me on here. Now, here's some of the stuff you get. You guys are going to get our toolkit. So my team spent quite a bit of time putting it together to make sure you guys have the tools that you need, and we're adding to it. You guys are also going to get the storyboard. So I mentioned you're going to get it for free just for attending. So you don't have to do anything more. You guys are going to get this for free. And then you're also going to get a free copy of my book. Yeah, I see some people are going for $50 an hour. Wow. Actually, that's on the lower end. I don't want to get into kind of price matching what it does cost to have me engage. But you guys know that I really, I get brought in to do strategy. I get brought in to fix problems and transform teams, right? And so I don't make that cheap because, to be quite frank with you, we do a lot of work, right? Changing a narrative is not easy. So anyways, these are some of the bonuses you guys will get for those of you who sign up today. As well, I am so sure about this. I don't want anybody to come back and say that they were unhappy and they couldn't do it, because I put my heart into this course, okay? And I'm going to be walking with you. If you're in my Facebook group, you know that. If you're in the BI Data Storytelling Mastery Facebook group, you know I'm in there every day talking to you guys, showing you what's going on. If within 30 days you guys feel it's not for you, we will actually give you all your money back. I don't want, you have to understand, at this stage in the game, I want 0 unhappy people. I want 1,000 people who are serious, who are saying, okay, Mico, let's do it. They're going to take the tools that we've tested, they're going to put them to task, and then they'll come back and say it worked. I don't know, I need a little bit of help, and I will do my best to work with you guys, or we have other people in the team that's going to work with you, okay? And even within our community. So again, 0 risk on your end, but the one thing is you do need to get started today. So here's where I'm at today. One of the things that I wanted to add on here, which is very valuable, is for the first 10 people who registered today. And when I say today, it is 12:55. So within the next 5 minutes, when we get off here, I'm going to give you guys a 30-minute call. That's with me direct. And a matter of fact, I usually can't, 30 minutes is too short. I'll be honest with you, it's probably gonna be 60 minutes. But what I want you to do on this call, just for those people who are gonna go to bidatastorytelling.com and take advantage of this, is I want you guys to bring what you're doing. And I'm literally going to treat you guys like one of our customers, and I'm going to assess what you have, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Very, very important. Okay. And thank you, Lemon. You said this is awesome. Don't care about the money back part, but the course is awesome. Thank you. Yes, we have amazing feedback. And again, on here, guys, like I said, this is not a sales pitch for me. I need 1,000 people, and I want the right people. So again, if you're on here, you got value. Thank you for coming. If you want to go to the next step with me, then I need action, because what I have planned between now and within the next year for fall is I want to unleash these amazing chief data storytellers. I really believe that this is what BI is going to come to. Okay. And I'm so passionate about that I'm putting my butt on the line, because I've told leaders that I'm going to do this, and they said, great, somebody needs to take it. Okay. So I have a couple of questions I want to address in a Q&A before we head off here. And again, I'm going to go back here. So this is actually the link, bidatastorytelling.com. So I have a few questions. So one of them is the course good, Angela said, for someone who's just beginning to learn BI and AI? So this is a great question. The course is tool agnostic. And if you're a beginner, you're actually in really good shape. The less baggage you have is the easier it is for me to repaint the palette and get you started on the right foot. You are actually in my opinion, you're actually at a benefit, because you're going to learn the right way from the beginning. So absolutely, yes. Angela said, who else here? I have Lemon said, I click access now button is the same as going to the website. So I don't know what that means, Lemon. You should be able to go to bidatastorytelling.com. There should be an enroll now button, and you should be able to sign up. If not, then let us know. Okay, I have on here Dave. Hey, Dave, if you're still on here. Been on this strange path with you since our days at Basic Energy 10 years ago. You're awesome, and I've always communicated this process more clearly than anyone else. Thank you, Mico. Oh my gosh. Oh, I want to cry, Dave. I remember, Dave, he's a part of our project at a client, and he watched, this was years ago when I was like 7 years ago in action, actually doing this stuff. I actually want to come to tears. Thank you so much. For people who have been on this journey, you guys know how passionate I am about this. Leanne, I want to be one. Let's do it. I need 1,000 people. So this is very aggressive, and please tell a friend, by the way, because this is very, very aggressive, and I'm holding myself to this. Is this course you're teaching at the Power Summit in Phoenix next month? So if you're coming to one of my live workshops, you are definitely going to get what I call the fire hydrant. But I admit to you, a lot of people that come to the workshops also join the online course because you continue to engage with me. Like I said, this is not going to be some random offline course. I am in here, I engage with you. And like I said, for those people who are signing up immediately, I'm going to get on a call. But this is a closed group where this has become a part of my everyday practice now. So it's a little bit different. Consider it to be continuity. Okay. I have here, Lori said, like to take the course. I'm on the journey. Let me see here. I'm just reading the comments and questions. You guys could put it here. So I have one person said, I want to be one, but my college won't pay. I'm not sure I could use it as a part of my program manager. So we have a number of program managers in here. What I will say to you is storytelling, as I said, guys, right, is really important. And so any job that you're doing, that's why I put the Steve Jobs quote up. This is about selling a vision, selling a narrative. And so if in your role, you need to convince people to take action, right? Data is a mechanism, but if you need to convince people to take action, think about TEDx, right? The top communicators, this is for you. That's the best I could say. Okay, any other questions here, guys? I'm kind of going through here. Jill, I am in to be the chief data storyteller for my company. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Chad, I'm jumping in. Awesome. I'll see you in the group. Where can we get the free downloads? You guys are going to get an email. So we're going to send that to you. I'm on board. I'm on this journey. I'm ready. I love it. I love it. I love it. Carla, I'm on this journey. Okay. Any other questions here, guys? So I'll just spend a few more minutes with any other questions. I'm really excited. Let me see. So the link here is bidatastorytelling.com. Sorry if I haven't said it. We'll send, don't worry, it'll come out in an email to you guys, okay? And I'm gonna be transparent with you guys. Like I said, once I get the people that I want in here and everybody is gonna be screened, I'll be quite frank with you, then we are going to shut it down and the price is gonna go back up. All right, thank you guys. Oh, some people said, thank you. You're welcome, Ronaldo. Awesome. You met me 2 years ago. Okay, well, make sure by the way, guys, make sure you guys join our Facebook group, okay? Excited to start the journey. Thank you, Lori. Rose is saying live workshop schedule. Yes, and again, Facebook group. All this stuff is in there. That's why I created it. Ravi, thank you so much. Awesome. Daniel, thank you. You guys are great. You guys are great as well. Samuel, thank you. And again, for those of you, I know that we're at the end of the hour. You're going to get an email with the links. You guys are going to get the offer. Today is Thursday in the US. I'm going to leave this offer open for the weekend, and then we are going to close off the bonuses. Like I said, this is really important to me. And I think we already have 10 people registered. So that little 30-minute bonus is probably not going to be available at this stage anymore, but you still get everything else, and make sure you join the Facebook group. Okay. Let me see any questions. See you in Phoenix. Awesome. Oh, thank you. Teshavu, South Africa. Thank you. I think it's Danki. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Amira. Oh, you guys are so awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. All right. And don't worry, the questions we don't get to, we will address offline. So put your questions in here because we will address it. You guys are awesome. Ravi, you're welcome. Oh, you guys are awesome. Okay. I see here. Okay, Tacey, then I would say yes. The 10-person bonus is is already taken from what I hear. I believe we already have 10 people, but don't worry. In the Facebook group, you guys will interact with me. I'm in there every day, so make sure you look for the Facebook group. But again, once you join, we do the live Q&As. We talk, so you guys need to make sure you get in here. Awesome. Okay, Rajan said I have to join. Gain permission, no problem. Thank you, Koi. Love the podcast. Awesome. Okay, let me see. Oh, thank you, Leanne. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Don't worry. I plan to do another one again. All right, so 2 more minutes here. Yay, John said, thanks. This is my first webinar and I got a lot from it. Okay, let me see here. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Well, Limon, I hope that you said if you had an issue and it's a mess up on our end, we'll address that offline. Okay, so we'll make sure and address that. If it's something that's going on, we have 10 people sign up, so I don't know what happened, but just write us offline. Let me see, because I know you're in my Facebook group as well, and you know I give a lot of love. So just write me. Let me see what's going on there. All right. So in Facebook, it's bidatastorytellingmastery.com. That's all you have to look for, bidatastorytellingmastery.com. All right. Okay, guys, I don't want to get off. I'm kind of enjoying this. So all I'll say is if you guys have time, I'm loving this. Dennis, you're very welcome. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm looking to do another one for Christmas, but honestly, I'm hoping that I have another my aim is to have another 100 to 200 people by the end of the year. And I want to start unleashing this stuff eventually to give the certification. So again, it's a journey, but I want to make sure that we get this in here. I got too many requests from executives. So very important stuff. The Facebook page, all you have to do is hit, you go look for it, and all you have to do is answer about 3 questions. We do scan everybody. I personally scan it with my team. We accept about 80%, only because, again, you have to be able to add benefit. All you do is hit join, and you can answer the 3 questions, and then you're in. Okay, I'm going to give 5 more minutes because we still have 100 plus people on here. What questions do you guys have? Let's do it. Any questions? Facebook page, same thing, BI Data Storytelling Mastery. I see a couple of people asking, so I just want to make sure. Any other questions, guys? I still have quite a bit of people on here, so I want to make sure. And by the way, all of this is going to come in the email, so don't worry. You guys are going to get a loaded email from me, so don't worry. I owe you guys a bunch of stuff, so don't worry about that. Limon, you're in. Okay, good. I might check, though. I think that I know we filled the top 10 very quickly. So let me double check and see there. If you had some issues, that was our fault. We will address that. You're welcome, JC. Thank you. All right, guys, 4 minutes left. Any other questions? Let's do it. You guys are in for a ride. You have no idea. You are in for a ride. I'm literally getting a freaking GoPro, guys, so you guys could see what I do in real time. So you guys have no idea. Okay, the free tool for KPI stories, Peter, is going to be realtimeboard.com. Okay, guys, I'm seeing here we have how many ambitious people here? I'm just looking. Okay, so I think we have almost our first 30 people. So who else is going to join? My goal is I want 50. I'm going to be very adamant about this. Any other questions I can address? Thank you, Lemon. You're welcome, Saeed. I hope you enjoyed. Daniel, you're welcome. I'm seeing if there's anything that I missed here. Did I miss anything for you guys? Let me see here. Okay. I think what skills do you need to be successful? Do you need to have a DBA skill? No, not for this. Storytelling does not require DBA skills. It requires people being willing. No DBA skills, guys. And by the way, I forgot to mention, when you log in, the course is for 4 weeks, and every week you're going to get an email that tells you what to focus on. But more importantly, you're going to join a Facebook group. So you guys it'll have a lot of fun. Yeah, I see some people saying I'm going to join. However, I want to start now. That's fine. So you notice that what we did is we started with, there's 2 options there for individuals, and you guys can pick whatever option works. Larry, can't get approval for course until next week. Will the lower price be available? Yes, I told you the bonuses are not going to be there, meaning the 30-minute bonus in particular, but the actual price, I'm committed. So I'm keeping it that way until we get our first 1,000 people. And that's a big goal. So you could imagine I'm going to be pretty aggressive with this to make sure we get it in. I believe from this, we have another 50. I'm just looking. I don't have time to see how many people registered, but I'm excited because we're going to start our course of Q&As. So the pricing will still be there. It's just that, the top 10 kind of disappeared. But look forward to having you in there. If you have any questions, you can just let me know. And again, join the Facebook group, guys. I pretty much spend a lot of time in there. Okay, any other questions here before we hang up? Is there any other questions, guys? I'm loving you guys who join me. You are in for a ride. Any other questions? And if you didn't, don't worry. Still love you too. You guys are going to get all the tools, so don't worry about that. We're going to give you guys everything. Any other questions, guys? I still see almost 100 people on here. Oh, no. Okay. Dennis, which bonuses? You asked how long are they good for? You're talking about all the bonuses with the toolkit. So my goal is to keep those alive and running for the first 1,000 people, so I can motivate people to get in. That is my goal. Just not the one-on-one call. Okay, Dan, see you in Facebook group. Yep, yours. Good. So if you go in there, do me a favor. If you went into Facebook, can you introduce yourself? You notice we have a trail going. We just started the group. Please feel free to introduce yourself. You're welcome, Dennis. Okay, guys, so let's talk about what's next here. I'm excited for those of you who entrusted me with your next step. You better believe that I am going to make sure this is worth your time. You guys can hold me to it. It's on record. If you know my reputation, I don't BS with you. Okay, so I want your feedback as well. Again, we beta tested this before it went out, but when you guys get into here, you guys are going to go through 4 weeks. Don't worry, you have access for a year, but I want your feedback. And more importantly, we're on this journey together. Okay, so this is really important. And I intend to put a gap and a nail in this chief data storytelling need that doesn't exist. All right, so you guys rock. I'm looking on here. If you have any questions, I am going to sign off now. Thank you. I'll either see you guys on Facebook or I'll see you guys online. For those of you who are going to join over the weekend, I will leave the bonuses up. Again, you have them until the end of the weekend. That's what this offer. At that point, then it just goes back to regular. The price was still the same, but the bonuses are looking to disappear. Okay, you guys rock big time. See you guys online. See you in Facebook. And by the way, if you're on LinkedIn or Twitter, feel free to show me love. I forgot to mention that. I'm at Mico Yuk. Feel free to show me love on there. You're welcome, Matt. Thank you guys. Awesome. And for those of you who stayed up across the world, I cannot say you guys are freaking rock stars. I have people from Philippines, South Africa, 7, 10, whatever hours ahead. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I really hope it was worth your time. Okay, guys, got to get back to work. Have a great day. You guys rock big time. And I honestly, like, mwah, you guys show so much love. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.